Hi, everyone. I'm Edward Chopsky, Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Bright Security. Today, I'm joined with Natu Nechimutu, who is our Vice President of Customer Success, and he's going to talk today about how we can implement Bright Security for success within 90 days.
Bright Global Customer Success team members are trusted partners for Bright's customers. They handle post-sales deployment, technical support, and proactive customer success management, and they are single point of contact for customers' business and technical needs. In a typical customer deployment of Bright platform, there are 8 major steps in our templated deployment flow. Cumulatively, with all these 8 steps are documented and shared as part of the kickoff meeting with customers, and it takes around 90 days or less for the customers to become fully operational with key applications onboarded in Bright platform and integrated in their CI/CD or other SDLC processes. Or if the customer would like to take it directly to the developers, that is also an option. So now let's dive into each of these steps a little bit in detail. Step 1, so it's typically an internal process called sales handoff and discovery process. Sales handoff is an internal process, as I mentioned, in which the CS team works with the SE and the sales team to go over everything that occurred within a POC, and also discuss about the use cases associated with the Bright platform, and also why the customer bought the solution. Further in this phase, we interact with the customers to discover the customer environment, related application technologies, number of applications to be onboarded, and other environment-related factors, so we can understand the customer environment much more in depth. This is done typically through various questionnaires, interviews, interactions with customer technical teams. This also will give the customer success teams more clarity on various use cases that need to be tracked, information about new team members, and the overall business goals of the Bright platform that in the end are finalized. This step typically takes a couple of days or a week around that time, depending upon the customer's schedule. Now, moving on to step 2, this is an important step we call as maturity assessment step. It helps us to plan the overall deployment. The customer success team typically analyzes with all the data we collected in the previous step, assess the maturity of the customers into 3 buckets: low, medium, and high maturity. It is based on various factors, for example, use cases, whether the customer is going to use an AppSec use case, an automation use case, or direct developer use case, or whether they have a shift left mandate within their security policy, or developer scans are required from day 1, or will the customer move towards the developer scans later in the deployment? Are they focused on CI/CD automation only, or viability of the CI/CD, a percentage of coverage of the applications like web apps, API application, what percentage of those applications are critical for their business, and if the customers are planning to use APIs, or if they would like to use APIs of Bright platform for their own automation of rollout, reporting, etc. So with all these various factors, we put the customers into 3 buckets: low, medium, and high maturity. Based on the use cases and maturity level, a detailed rollout plan for the customer is derived, documented, and shared with the customer. So typically this probably would go to a project manager on the customer side, and also the customer success manager on the Bright side. So they align, collaborate, come up with an agreed timeline. Typically, this phase takes few days, depending upon, again, the customer schedule. Step 3 would be provisioning, installation, and configuration. Part of the deployment plan creation, resource management on both sides are finalized. It could be project manager, multiple team members, exec sponsors. So based on the whole plan, a final plan is published to the customer. A detailed deployment plan template is shared with the customer. Initial deployment plan will include installation of Bright components on customer end, such as repeaters, repeater scripts, proxy configuration, WAF configuration. There are many other configurations which might require customizing our platform for the customers are discussed. This step typically may take a week or more, depending upon the complexity of the environment, and the tasks are agreed with the customer on specific application and their environment. Please note that note that Bright Platform is a full SaaS service. So except for repeater and those customizable repeater scripts, there are no other typical components are installed within the customer environment. Step 4 would be just running the local scans from the developer workstations. In this step, Bright Customer Success Team recommends the customer to pick 2 friendly development teams to onboard developers so they can run local scans from their developer workstation using Bright IDE plugin. This becomes a training and learning opportunity for the customer to work with the Bright CS team to plan and onboard other development teams later in the deployment cycle. In other use cases, such as CI/CD integration, a couple of friendly application pipelines can be chosen to be integrated with the Bright Platform in place of the development teams. Usually, this step is the most coordinated internally within the customer environment, since developers can directly run local scans from their workstation transparently. So as I mentioned, this whole friendly development teams and the Bright IDE plugin are coordinated through the AppSec team of the customer. Step 5, a remote scan from the developer station. In the previous step, the Bright IDE plugin was used to run local scans with a local repeater. Developers can plan to run remote scans if the AppSec team provisions a repeater that connect with customer applications running in different infrastructure, multiple cloud environments, or other internal environments. Developers use this repeater from their workstation to run remote scans without any major configuration by themselves. This step is typically templated by the AppSec team, so it is repeated by the developers without any effort from their side. Step number 6, review of scan results from the above efforts or above steps. So after the review of scan results from the developers or the scan output from the developers of those friendly development teams in coordination with the customers, they can review the scans themselves or work with the Bright CS team to understand the results in depth and integrate the vulnerability findings with the internal workflow so they can be remediated effectively. Onboarding and working with these 2 friendly dev teams can take anywhere from a week or 30 days, again, based on customer schedule and flexibility from them. Step number 7, operationalization of the platform. So Bright's customer success team helps the customer to further advance in the deployment plan and enables the customer to onboard multiple development teams based on the experience and training from steps 1 to 6 we explained so far. Customers typically create a plan for the entire year and a specific number of development teams to be operationalized, and they are spelled out in our deployment plan. Depending upon the number of development teams to be operationalized, these steps can take many weeks. Typically, customers can be self-sufficient to do this on their own since they are already trained in previous steps. The last but not the least step, reporting and remediation. Integration steps with customer-specific workflow for result analysis, reporting, ticketing, and other custom end-to-end workflow that allows the customer to manage the vulnerabilities, and remediation is the final phase to complete the deployment. Bright supports many out-of-the-box integration with the remediation workflow and also ticketing platforms such as DAS, Tromzo, Jira, and custom ticketing platforms, etc. Bright Platform APIs are also an easy way to integrate with customer-specific workflows. As you can see from steps 1 to 8, they can typically take anywhere from 30 days to 90 days for customers to rapidly deploy a Bright Platform from start to finish. If the customer schedule is predictable and flexible, then the onboarding of key applications can be completed before 90 days. It is not unusual to go beyond 90 days when the customer environment is tightly managed with a lot of change controls and so forth. But the